And welcome back to MediEvil. So, after the graveyard set of the levels, it's now the game opens up for what kind of branching paths, but to get the complete game you have to of course go through it all. So let's just go to the Scarecrow Fields, which appears to be the location to go, at least in my books. Oh yeah, the game gives you a hint about how the stage is built and what kind of obstacles it has in it. One of the most intimidating ones. Yeah, it's a stage with scarecrow enemies because it's a farm stage.
The scarecrows are almost unstoppable, so don't be a hero. If you can't beat them, try trapping them while you make your escape.
So yeah, it's got scarecrows. They are dangerous. Mostly because of that. They have that kind of little spinny They have that kind of spinny attack which is quite dangerous thing to get, and not to mention that they also have crows. So yeah, scarecrows are actually quite dangerous. So let's just try to focus on using shit. They are much more dangerous than they were in the original one. And that's maybe not, but then again, those farm hillbilly zombies or whatever you want to call them, they are not dangerous. They're just lazy. Couple of hammer whacks and they go down. Oh yeah, then there's a cart to be moved. In general sense, this remake's difficulty, it feels to be up, mostly because of in matter of more enemies, and they are being, or better say, enemies have doing more damage than the previous one, especially with the scarecrows. Well, and of course, Dan can also light up the hay bales, and also the peasants, because, well, why else wouldn't he? Yeah, putting things on fire is very efficient way of killing things. History knows that.
Beware of mischief makers and metal machines. Who knows what dark sorcery?
So yeah, and a little hint about what you're gonna face. Metal machines. Kind of dangerous, but not completely extremely so. And the fact that there's these life wires makes it a bit easier to do things. Oh yeah. Oops! Oh, I'm trapped. Bit. And that was very easy fight. as in ridiculously easy, just shoot their head broken. And with that, and another club, and that's a haybarrow, which is not something that you can attack and destroy and burn and whatever verb you wanna, bad nasty deed you wanna do to it. Well, because this stage as a general piece of setting is actually one of the, you could say, better ones. It's got really nice design. It's got interesting set pieces and all that kind of things. Scarecrows are kind of annoying, dangerous, and this stage has quite a lot of them. But it's not. They are not something that can't be handled. Mostly employing liberal usage of the hammer, especially the charge attack hammer. And it's a real nice thing that Dan can actually run around while charging this big hammer smack. And the enemies also suffer knockback from big hits. So it's fighting across the giants, or we'll say of fighting against those. Laugh as much as you want, pet. You are quite harmless. Oh yeah. Big thing went down, dropped Chaos Rune, and I used it right away to open a path. Nothing really, you could say, complex about that kind of little action. And in the cornfields, there's danger.
These fields are home to many mad machines, yet the most bizarre of them is housed within this barn.
Oh yeah, that's a hint about that there's something special in the barn that you and of course it already shows you that there's the actual the monster at the cornfield, and it attacked me real fast, way faster than I expected it to attack. What it is, I don't know. The game doesn't tell you what it is, except it's there, it attacks you. And it's dangerous. It's instant death and you can't fight against it. But it is only in the cornfield. And unfortunately it is discriminatory. It identifies friend and foe. And it identifies you as foe. Shut up. I don't like those scarecrows, they're dangerous. But this one, this snake I just got, is it's useful because it does damage to the enemies. And if I remember right, it only appears on this stage, which is kind of a bummer, although completely understandable. And a little bonus shift, and they managed to, with this remake, make the corn stage have a bit more, you could say, surface shape, in the sense that it's got much more slopes in it than in the original one. So let's just take a piece of energy vial. And I really don't know, is that wheat or corn or anything like wheat or maize? Yeah, I think that's the official term for that edible crop. And up. And so let's just drop the machine with this weird spider harvester looking like thing, but I don't have anything. So let's just try reading this. Oh, I can't, because the machine just blocks my path. Well, it probably would have said something about this machine does this or that this machine does that. Which it does. Actually, it does only one thing, it goes forward. Because it's a quite... It's a machine, it's a not so smart machine. And of course there are windmills in this stage as well, because... Yeah, and getting the chalice in this stage is not particular, it's not the difficult part, it's actually getting to that chalice, which is the difficult part in this stage. 2, 3. So let's just try to get the... Let's get the fire going, because that's what I need. I need fire, because I wanna put the... Yeah, I'm gonna burn you up. Goddamn scarecrow trash. And this is a big, some sort of grinding machine. But it moves very predictable vertical pattern as well, so nothing really. But what this machine is doing, except being some sort of crazy trap, I have no idea. But it's an intimidating trap thing spinning around. And no way to move the camera around here as well. Generally, this is one of the more, you could say, not maybe necessarily not the most challenging stages, but definitely of the more long ones. And this is death. Going to death is a death. Instant death. No ifs, ands or buts about it. And you can... Pressing the block button actually makes you duck. So still getting forward.
Pumpkin gorge, dead ahead. The nursery to Gallomere's favourite side dish. Step inside and understand the true horror of fruit gone bad.
Alright, I could get to the stage to here, but I have to go and find the machine part, which is here. Yeah, you have to go practically through all the stage to get to manage to get the actual thing to make the for the actual the chalice. Yeah, there's a lot. There's this kind of running around. But luckily, most of the return trip is not as bad as the getting trip because, well, you mostly can't just follow this, and not to mention the fact that there's very little instantaneous death things in this game. Not saying that there isn't any, but there's quite a few of them. And you know, I really don't want to pick a fight with that scarecrow because it didn't seem to, because it seems to be excessively stubborn. I really don't like this kind of games where the enemies are put something like a endlessly eager to. But now the harvesting spider machine got up, so, and drilled me a path through the cornfields that I otherwise could not have gone through. And gave a bit of a jumping thing. But it also gives me a bit of money and all that money and that kind of things. Original one didn't have this little pit in it, but doesn't matter. Just as a precaution, I avoided jumping to the pit or walking to the spinny blade. It would most likely either damage me or something. No reason to push your luck. That's like somebody smart. And also no reason to pay attention to the scarecrow either. Although birds are worthy of paying attention to. Yep. Going through the trap like a kamikaze. Oh, as a kamikaze I mean completely disregarding your own safety. Yep. Oh, was that something that they would not have hit me? Oh, that's where we were. Yeah, big swingy blades, but nothing particularly dangerous. But Scarecrow Fields completely gone through with a trip to the Hall of Heroes. What does the gargoyle say?
It's the hall.
Oh, the same. Oh yeah, they always say they say different things once you get better, more stuff to the chalice.
Fortescue, you jawless arrow magnet, what are you doing back here? What? Call me Mr. Woden the Mighty. How I pity the people of Gallowmere, that their fate should once again be in the hands of a chump like you! Still, I suppose it's not fair to take it out on them. Take my sword, and do try not to stab yourself in the foot. You know, I've always had my doubts about you, Fortescue. You're just not carved from hero material.
Yep, now I have the second sword of the game. There's 3 of them, and this is the second of them. Its color is something like almost like a bronze, and it's got the enchantment on it as well. Yes, you can enchant it to become much more powerful through the merchant gargoyles. And he was quite a rough person, that Woden, but he did seem to have something that, yeah, he's still going to help you. He does not think us worthy much, but he still is gonna give the aid. So there's a pumpkin gorge that I can go through. Or I could go to the sleeping village, which is also, there's even more branching paths. But let's just go to the pumpkin gorge because, well, it follows the pumpkin. It's a pumpkin path of this game. Well, yeah, and some hints that yeah, there's pumpkin enemies as well. And this, when compared to the previous stage, is not as, you could say, complex in sense. There's basically much less these kind of complexities about level design and all that. And these kind of little breakable paths tend to be easy to find. Oops. Yep, chalice is here, right at the beginning of the stage. So the problem is, in this case, then must not be getting the challenge or anything like that, but you know, the fact that I have to get back there. So yeah, there's plenty of these kind of bouncy. Oh yeah. I say that though, these pumpkin things start to look quite creepy. Even in the original one they weren't particularly nice looking, but in this case they made it real spooky. But they're nothing you can't just hammer down with a big few smacks of the hammer. So, killing the enemies in this game is recommended because of the chalices, which make killing more enemies easier. So it's kind of a self-reinforcing thing that... well, I don't remember the exact term. It's something that makes itself stronger, so that getting the enemy challenge. Getting the chalices makes you better at killing enemies, and being better at killing enemies makes you better at getting chalices. Oh yeah, something like that. Feeds on itself. Oh. And a little bit of a puzzle that make the harvest thing spin around. I don't know how exactly how. Well, it's not the most complicated thing, and of course there's no need to spin it all the way, just enough to get you through. So let's just go to the little big side building over here. More of you. You ain't so scary. Mostly because I have a big hammer to smash you with. Yeah, and now I got the full life juice, or however you wanna call it. Yeah, this is messy stage. Plenty of goop juice and all that kind of stuff going around. Goop juice means something that stuff from fruits or whatever, fruits or vegetables, which has very, you could say, meaty. So I need the earth rune. It's just to say I need the key item. So where do I get it? This game's difficulty is not big. It's not excessively hard. Oh yeah, not do that. That's a completely different place. What does this say?
Up and down these magical mushrooms go.
Oh yeah, a platforming challenge. Like not with ending death. Yeah, bones don't swim, especially when they are armored. Yeah, platforming challenger. Platforming and MediEvil are not friends. They really don't like each other. And it was in the original one as well. Dan isn't the most mobile waterway. Aquatically or hydroponically. Oh, whatever is the term you want to use. Hero. But now I got the earth rune. And there's even more of these pests to smash. And with Earth Moon I can get now up here. And god damn, these pumpkin things explode into a mess. That's a messy explosion. Which is a nice little extra detail that they added to this game, but in a sense also feels quite unnecessary. But then again, in this game's case I could say that the remake in a sense itself it's not a bad game at all, but it itself also feels kind of unnecessary because the original game is already good. It's good, generally well regarded one. There's nothing inherently bad in it, in the sense that it would have benefited from or needed the remake to realize its full potential, like, well, let's see, or something that it would have been so universal that it could have been remade without any kind of, you could say, questioning about that was this really necessary. I could say that there are many games, you could say remade games, which are of the sense that remaking them was well, if not oh yeah. Again, yeah, I know that. Yep. Yeah, judging Dan's position is a bit wonky. Because, well, or maybe it's just that these mushrooms have bit wonky locations themselves. Plenty of enemies around here, but not something it feels particularly. Yeah, one more rune, time rune. Why it feels like why it feels like a slog going through this stage. Oh yeah, that's a big and messy explosion. And as I have progressed through this stage, this really feels much of a filler stage instead of a complete stage that actually drives the game forward, makes it progress, gives some extra. Well, you can say that the video game levels have two things. They're either, you could say, full stages meant to drive the narrative of the game forward, as silly thing as that is to say, that video games do have a narrative, they do have stories they tell. And some of those stories, over say cases that when the story is told, mean that they don't actually are not so really important events in that. You could say filler or anything like that, which really don't drive story much forward. They might have be good moments in a. Well, here's an example. There's a very famous monologue and scene in Finnish novel and movie. Actually, one of those movie versions. Under the North Star, täällä Pohjantähden alla, during which one of the characters makes very colorful monologue about, well, inhabitants of the same location, of the same city, and the monologue has very good expressions about all kinds of things about in a dialogue wise, but it doesn't actually bring anything new. It doesn't introduce character as anything else that has already been established about that character. So it, in a sense, despite being a good scene, doesn't add to the story. But there are also that in that same novel, because, well, trilogy of novels about 1,000 pages, which is quite a lot. There are also scenes which are very important in dramatic sense and do add to the story. Sometimes they might be a little bit smaller, like the fact that you could say that the main protagonist of that novel gets to meets one of his old you could say comrades in arms, and the comrade is asking him to rejoin the idea that he has. Well, he's been suffering he was at the losing side of civil war, so and the comrade asks him to rejoin him, that start it again, and he refuses. So in the sense that drives the story forward. It tells that the character has developed, but this level does not. It's much more of a quite good level itself, but doesn't drive the story forward. It's just there as a filler.
Gaining allies in the Hall of the Heroes is the way forward. Hack, choppity chop, off with a few zombies' heads, and it thinks it can redeem itself in battle. You still have a long way to go to rank as the best.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the gargoyle. And I still think that the original one's design of Dan the hero was better. So let's just have a chat again and again.
Fortescue, you must be the luckiest corpse ever to walk the face of the earth. I have something here I can lend to you. Take it or leave it, but remember, I'm only doing this for the sake of Galomere's doomed population, and not for you, you gangly buffoon!
Yeah, he gave me money, which I haven't used at all during this game. But I have. So I'm going to once again leave the Hall of Heroes, because that's just a little turn forward, and there's just this usually just one person to have a chat with. And Pumpkin Gorge is out and defeated, and now it is time for Pumpkin Serpent, But that is a boss stage, which I will be handling next time. See ya!